Hi there, this is John Drew here from Elevated Planet, and today I am here with my friend, Mr. Chris Stiles, who is a human futurist. And he runs his business, which is all about the human futurology side of things. Hi, Chris, how are you doing?
Hello, John. Lovely to see you again and really looking forward to this chat. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because one of the things I'm really interested in at the moment, and we've been looking at this from an elevated planet perspective, is looking at 2024 and beyond. I'm seeing a lot of evidence, whatever modality you're looking at these days, anybody that's sort of steeped in this world of forward future looking kind of circumstances, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about this is going to be an interesting year where revelations are going to come to light, this, that, and the other, and that is the start of something which changes the world that we live in. So, having evidenced your work over the years, Chris, and I have an awful lot of respect for what you do, and I know that you go back over the years and you kind of look at people like Nikola Tesla who were very obsessed with numbers, right? And the more you look into this, you do understand that everything comes back to numerical sequences. And crazy though that sounds from a mainstream perspective, it's absolutely true. So I have total respect for you and what you do because I know that you have a mind that works differently to most, right? But there's a reason for that. And I think that makes you the talented person that you are, Chris. So 2024 and beyond, that's my kind of interest at the moment. How are you seeing things?
Well, John, thank you for those kind words. And yes, I do have a mind that is different in that I have been obviously clinically diagnosed as being autistic. So I do look at the world and make sense of the world through a completely different set of filters. And in my world, the way that I make sense of things is through numbers, patterns, and sequences. And having been trained as a research scientist, obviously, I take an enormous amount of pride in making sure that what I am putting out there in the way of research is very, very thoroughly and rigorously tested. That it's not just mere thumb sucks, where you kind of grasping at straws or one-off wonder type things. It's very interesting, John, that you talk about 2024 and being a year when a lot of things are going to shift. Now, the word that you use, shift, could actually be replaced by the word manifest. So let me
Right.
explain what I mean by this. Most people are unaware of the cycles that we live in. We wake up each day and the date has changed, and that's it. You look at your watch and oh my word, today is the 7th of January. Then you look at your watch again, the 8th of January, the 9th of January, the 23rd of March, and so it goes on. But because of the way we are conditioned, we just think of it as a date within a year of 365 days. And basically, life just carries on and you go from one year to the next, to the next, to the next. And if you will, we stumble through life completely blind or oblivious to the fact that as dates change, what actually is changing around us is the numerical or mathematical energy that we are operating in. Now, the astonishing thing is that when you open your mind to the fundamental truth that everything around us is happening in cycles of 9, then all of a sudden everything begins to change. Now, firstly, for a person watching this interview for the first time, they would be thinking, what on earth does he mean by a cycle of 9? And if you take a ruler and you look at a ruler and it starts at 0 and it goes through to 9, for example, centimeters, then it goes on to 10, 11. 10 is purely a 1 and a 0. 11 is 2 ones. So after 9, every single number that exists is a construct of the founding numbers, if you will, that was 1 through to 9.
Right.
And all 0 serves to be is an amplification factor. So what we are dealing with now in 2024 is a year of manifestation. So how do I know that? Well, let's just do some Rambo maths, John. 2024 is 2024. Okay.
Right.
If we just add up those numbers, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, we get 8.
Mm-hmm.
So 2024, therefore, is the 8th year in a cycle of 9.
Right.
2025, if you take those numbers, it adds up to 9. So that's the final year. And then when we go to 2026, 2026 gives you 10, 1 and 0 gives you 1. So this immediately helps people to begin to understand that the cycle that we're in now actually began back in 2017 and ends in 2025. And then the next cycle begins in 2026 and goes through to 2034.
Right.
So these are the universal cycles of 9, which are, if you will, the large cycles. Within those, there are much smaller cycles and sub-cycles. And I can, doing the work I do and the way I operate as a human futurist, I can basically take your intelligent mathematical blueprint and I can run codes and sequences which reveal your unique design or construct within these various cycles. But given that we are talking about 2024, what is important to realize is that it is the number 8 year. That when a cycle begins in year 1, which is 2017, the way a cycle works is there are 2 subsets within the cycle. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, if you will, you get a slight pause. Then you get 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you get number 9, which wraps up the cycle.
Right.
You got it? So if the cycle that we are in began in 2017, then the first manifestation of that cycle would have happened in 2020. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And obviously, what do we know about 2020? Well, 2020 was the year that basically shocked the world on the back of coronavirus, COVID, lockdowns, huge trauma throughout the entire world, economies crashing, unexpected chaos. So the next sub-cycle of this cycle of 9 began in 2021. Right. And so it goes 21, 22, 23, 24. So this year, 2024, if you will, is the alpha or the larger expression of what happened in 2020.
Right. Okay.
First sub-cycle, 2017 to 2020. Second sub-cycle, which is the building upon it, or the amplification, 2021 to 2024. And then in 2025, everything gets wrapped up, if you will, ahead of 2026 when a new cycle starts. Now, this is absolutely how things work. And the more you start to study and explore these cycles, the more these patterns begin to appear. So the really interesting thing, John, is if we think about the cycle that we are in, and if we think about the chaos that has happened in the cycle, just think about the chaos that happened, the global chaos that happened in 2020 around coronavirus, which in turn resulted in tremendous economic chaos across the entire world. And if you will, many first world economies, powerful economies that were always considered to be the leading economies of the world, being brought to their knees. Then in 2020, so that's event number 1. Then in 2022, we have Russia that invades the Ukraine. This now starts to create supply chain chaos throughout the entire world. It also starts to create an energy crisis. On the back of the energy crisis, the cost of living crisis goes through the roof. Suddenly there's tremendous instability throughout the whole of Europe. All of a sudden, your first world countries like the US, like the UK, and obviously your NATO alliance are having to plow enormous amounts of resources into arming the Ukraine in order to be able to counter the Russian offensive. So there's the first trigger. Now we go into this year, 2024, which, if you will, is the alpha manifestation of 2020. And all you have to do is just sit back look at the evidence before you, and already what the year is revealing, or what the real year is talking about, is the fact that we can expect much more chaos on a bigger level and a greater intensity during this year than what we've experienced before. So as much as I would love to be sitting here giving good news, I think what is incredibly important is for people to understand that we are really now heading into what is the teeth of the storm in terms of this cycle of 9.